always have people asking a question, how do I serve Hashem better? How do I have Yirut Shamayim? Rabotai, if we only look into the Torah in Siman Aleph and Alach Aleph, he gives you the 4 character traits a person must have in order to be able to serve Hashem. And these 4 character traits a person must live day in, day out. You shouldn't forget about them. Because every single day you always come across situations where you get tired. You no longer want to serve Hashem. It's normal. We're human beings, we're not angels. But a person always has to remember before who he is standing. Ramel Yal Shlita always says, how do you know a person has Yirut Shamayim? Before he does anything in his life, he asks a simple question. Does Hashem want me to do X, Y, and Z? Does he want me to say X, Y, and Z? Does he want me to go here, go there? If a person thinks like that, automatically your mind starts thinking and it starts working. And then what do? You think 2 times. Should I say it, should I not say it? Should I go there, should I not go there? Because maybe if I'm going to go there, I'm going to regret it in the end. You guys understand what I'm talking about? A lot of times we do things, in the end we regret it. For 2 minutes or 1 minute or 30 seconds, we do something wrong. In the end, we regret very much. And we eat ourselves weeks upon weeks. If a person has Yirut Shamayim, is going to eat himself alive. Okay, so look what he says over here. Yehuda, it's a cloth from Yehuda ben Tema. We Mama said right before, in the Karbonot, after the Karbonot, right before we say Kaddish. Yes, right? Yehuda ben Tema Omer, Yehuda ben Tema said, Have asken Amer, V'kal ken asher, V'ratz ketzavi v'gibor kari, La'asot aratzon avicha shebashamayim. Yehuda ben Tema gives you right now 4 character traits a person must live with. 4 of them. A person needs to be bold like a leopard. He has to be swift like an eagle. He has to be quick like a deer. And he has to be strong like a lion to do the will of his Father in heaven. The Torah tells you, I don't understand. You need all these 4 things? I thought being swift like an eagle and quick like a deer is the same thing. Bold like a leopard and strong like a lion, the same thing. So why do you have to tell me 4 different character traits? They all seem to me, it's only 2. In reality, these 4 are only 2. So he says, he says, no, there's a reason why he detailed these 4 character traits in the Avodat Hashem, and he begins why. The reason why he began with being bold like a leopard, I say bold, but literally az means like we say az panim legehenom. Person who's brazen is going to go to Gehenna. But this brazenness should be used in Avodat Hashem. A good brazenness should be used in Avodat Hashem. Why? He says, he began with bold like a leopard. Why? Because this is the biggest rule when it comes to serving Hashem. Why? Because at times a person, he wants to do a mitzvah. But a lot of times he refrains from doing that mitzvah. Why? Because people make fun of him. They invite you somewhere you're not supposed to be. I can't come. Ana, fanatic, doti, no respect, no derech eretz. So you now, okay, I'm going to give in. What means, okay, I'm going to give in? Rabotai. There's a Shulchan Aruch in your day speaks about how you have to honor your father and your mother. But over there the Shulchan Aruch brings down that if your mother and your father tell you any Isser, the smallest Isser, to go against the Chachamim, you're not obligated to listen to them. Why am I telling you this? If it's your parents, you're not obligated to listen. When they tell you the smallest Avera you should do, how much more so when people ask us to do severe Averas? How much more so a person should not be embarrassed and he said, no, I'm going to go. No, don't worry. Do the mitzvah. If you know that what you're doing is right, you stick to your guns like they say it. Do not give in. Therefore he says, brazen your forehead, meaning brazen your face. Not to answer back. Just brazen. Don't listen to what they have to say. And do not refrain from doing the mitzvah, Rabotai. You have to understand, when you refrain from doing one mitzvah, wow, what are you losing out? How much are you losing out? And so to Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai said to his students, Rabbi Yochanan said to his students, Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai said to his students, may the fear of heaven be upon you just like you fear people. Rabotai, the truth is, I don't know why. Unfortunately, we have more fear of people than we have more fear of Hashem. I don't know why. The preacher asks, how could it be? How could it be that a person is more afraid of people than Hashem? You think there cannot be such a thing. You know something? There is such a thing. Because in the times of the Gemara, Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai already gave this blessing to his students, which were big Talmidei Chachamim. He told them, how much more so us, how much we are afraid of people. The Beit Yosef asks, how do you compare fear, meaning how do you compare that one should refrain from doing an Avera because of fear, versus from refrain from doing a mitzvah because somebody's going to make fun of you? He says like this, the Beit Yosef asks a question. The reason why I won't do an Avera, because I'm afraid maybe somebody's going to hand me over to the government. But by the mitzvah, there's no problem. Correct? By the mitzvah, who's going to say anything? So that's why he continues and he says, no. V'chen hu le'inyan habusha, he says over here, and so it is regarding when a person is being shamed, shepa'amim sha'adam mitbayesh, because at times a person is embarrassed, mipnei adam yoter mima shitbayesh mipnei haborei yitbarach, because sometimes a person is embarrassed more from people than from Hashem. Ve'alken, he's here. So therefore he warned you, sheta'iz maschacha keneged ha'melagim v'lo tavosh, and don't be ashamed. But this does not answer the question, what about the mitzvah? All this is good where? You shouldn't be ashamed. But what about the mitzvah? When I'm doing the mitzvah, what's the problem? Maybe we cannot learn that from Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, the Beit Yosef asks. So that's what the Tur says, you're right, from Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, you cannot learn it out. But you know who you're going to learn that out from? From David the Melech Olav Shalom. You guys ready? He says, V'chen amar David the Melech Olav Shalom, and so too David the Melech, King David said, may peace be upon him, V'adebera be'edotecha neged malachim, I will speak your testimony, your laws against the kings, V'lo ivosh, and I will not be embarrassed. Rabotai, listen carefully. Av ki haya nirdav uborech ben ha'omot, even when he was being chased, and he was running away amongst the nations, haya machzik betoroto velomed, he was holding on to the Torah and he was learning it, af apisha yumalagim olav, even though they were making fun of him. The Beit Yosef says from David the Melech, don't tell me he was doing Averos. We see clearly from David the Melech, even when it came to mitzvot, holding on to the Torah, learning the Torah, doing the mitzvot, even though people made fun of him, nevertheless, what did David the Melech say? I will speak about your testimonies against the kings. Meaning that we learn that from David the Melech, two things. Number one, we learn that from David the Melech, when it comes to mitzvot, you should not be ashamed. From Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, we learn out that fear, people really fear more from people than they do from Hashem. That's why if a person really, that's what they say by Yosef HaTzadik, who do you think of? Yaakov Avinu. And that was able to actually help him refrain from Davera. A lot of times they say that if a person really has a very big Yitzhara and he cannot overcome it, just imagine that his rabbi is standing mamash in front of him. Rabotai, because you have to know that eventually all of these things will be played before you. Everybody in Shamayim is going to see it. If you don't do Teshuvah, everybody's going to see it. There's a story with Nur Amra. Guys, let me finish with this. Belinada, we're going to continue. There's a little bit more to continue. But I want to finish the story with Nur Amra. A lot of people ask, what's this? Olam Haba. There is Olam Haba. There is no Olam Haba. As everybody knows, Nur Amra, there was a Rav Amra. They captured a beautiful captive woman, captives, and they put them in the attic. You needed 10 people to pick up the ladder and to pick it up and put it so the captives can go up into the attic. When Rav Amram was learning Torah in the middle of the night, he saw a shine. So sunshine coming from that corner. But it wasn't the sunshine. There was the HR made that the woman's blonde hair came out and it like shone into his eyes. So he saw it. Rabotai, the fact that he saw her hair, it grabbed him and he went to do the Avera. Do you know how old he was? He was very weak and fragile. He didn't have the strength. But somehow, what you needed 10 young guys to pick up this ladder, he did it himself. Mike, you with me? He did it himself. He picked it up and he put it up, and now he's going up. And as he was going up, the tzitzis smacked him in his face. The tzitzis hit him in his face. Now he started screaming, Nur de Amra, Nur de Amra. There's a fire in Amra's house. There's a fire in Amra's house. And he couldn't stop. But again, Rabotai, once you're in the clutches of the Yitzhar, what do you want to do? It's a loose battle. You got to be able to have a lot of zuchyot. You got to be able to fight it out. He started screaming and screaming, and he was going up. He knew he's going to do Avera. He started, Nur Amra, Nur Amra. Automatically, all the Talmidim ran in with buckets of water. Where's the fire? Where's the fire? And then he come down. The fire is in me, he said. What do you think fire? You think the fire is to be outside? The fire was in me. I couldn't control myself. The Talmidim told him, Rabbeinu, you embarrassed us. We always looked up to you. I'd rather be embarrassed in your eyes in this world than to chas v'shalom be embarrassed 1 second in the next world. That's why, Rabotai, if these Gedolim, these Tanaim, Amoraim spoke like this, a person should never be ashamed when it comes to doing mitzvot. You want to do the mitzvah, you do the mitzvah. And Bezrat Hashem, Rabotai, we should be able to reach a level not to be afraid of people. My mother-in-law, my father-in-law, no, Rabotai. What is Hashem going to say? I want to do what Hashem says. Everything pleasantly. I didn't tell you to fight. Everything should be done pleasantly. Bezrat Hashem b'leneder, we pray to HaKadosh Baruch Hu that we have be'emet, yir shamayim, that we should be able to serve Hashem b'lev shalem. Baruch Adonai l'olam. Amen ve'amen.